Video I wanted to be filming this morning. Okay, so it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy the amount of hate and toxic behavior from a fandom. This is the most toxic I've ever felt, and I have nothing to apologize for. I'm not going to apologize. I'm going to go through some of these comments I'm getting. First of all, my Instagram is just all snake emojis. So childish, all snake emojis. Because not only did Ethan tweet, but he also TikToked. I'm just sad. Playing a victim card as if me going on a podcast, which he hasn't even heard, is a personal attack on him. As if me, Trisha Paytas, who's been around since 2006 on YouTube, going on podcast after podcast, this is what I do. This is how I've always expanded what I do. I do it for the drama. I do it for the discussion. I do it for the... Me and Keemstar, we had our own issue. I'm the one who made the initial video. I'm the one that gave criticisms from my own trauma about his relationship. Ethan inserted himself by putting me in the thumbnail and title. If he wants this to be done, then leave me out of it too. But he's inserting himself in the Keemstar drama. That video gets taken down. I'm freaking out. I'm like, what if Keemstar strikes my video? So he's like, hey, Trish, he did a Twitter video to me. Hey, not coming at you with fire. Like, let's just talk things out. Okay, cool. Like, I'm going to. And it's not just Keemstar's podcast. It's also FaZe Bing's podcast, who I misspoke on. I did. I didn't know a full story, and I misspoke on him. And I wanted to take that time to apologize. Just like I went on Gabby Hanna's podcast to try and make amends. Like, I was never going to be her friend. She told my ex-boyfriend had herpes. Like, I had no interest in that. I wanted to see where she was coming from. I asked her. She cut it out. I asked her, do you regret it? Do you regret it? She sent me a voice note the next day being like, well, because at the time she's like, she didn't. She would do it again. And I was like, okay, this girl learned nothing. But even yesterday, no one's even heard this podcast, which is so crazy. Even yesterday, I was able to have debates and talking points, and then they were like, oh, I didn't think of that way. Even Keemstar himself, who I am not defending, I went on there. The first thing I said is I am not pro Keem. I am more team Ethan, which is why we're the frenemies thing. You know, I have my own criticism of Ethan. Yes, I do, just like he does of me. And it's valid criticism. It's not lies, like the video he made about me 48 hours later. We were besties. He cared so much about me, but as soon as frenemies ended, 48 hours later, he went not only on a tirade of things that I did in my past, which I think is so low because his past is ugly as sin too. I could have just like done the same thing, but also lied. And in that final episode of Frenemies, and this is my resentment for him that I'm going to hang on forever until like he can acknowledge that he misspoke, and he did it on the Frenemies, but and we talked about this yesterday on the podcast too, because he misspoke, basically like just didn't get the right facts about FaZe, but can never, if he says something wrong, he won't apologize for it wrong. He misspoke on me. I have gotten so much hate from that day, still being like, you ended frenemies, the whole crew fired, the 5%, just bullshit. That was not true. That he admitted. He was sitting there going through texts. We recorded the entire thing. He stopped trying to look through text and like, show me where I said that. Show me where. And then he admits in that same podcast that he screenshotted my text that night and sent it to the crew before anything went down. He's hypocritical as sin. His followers are. The fact that he's even tweeting about this, being like, I'm sad. Really, a week later, you and your mom did a podcast, Trisha Paytas for Gabby Hanna, where you said that, or your mom said that I was like Gabby Hanna, and you're just sitting there agreeing, laughing, your dad making jokes about my weight and shit like that. It's like, that triggered me. But I'm not a little baby about it. And for all those people being like, well, Rylan had Jeffree, you were mad about Jeffree. I was mad about it. Did I say anything? No, I'm not saying anything. I'm not in a cult. I don't own a person. I was pissed. It hurt that they were friends with Jeffree. It hurt that they would give him a platform. But that's not why things ended, and that's why things went south. Things ended and things went south when Shane said he thought I was a liar, that he didn't believe me what I said. I was like, okay, that's when things go south. Things go south when Rylan starts lying about it, being like, we didn't know she had issues with Jeffree. Then things go south. We're having workers, sorry. You be friends with whoever you want. Like, Tana's friends with David Dobrik. No one says shit. Oh, that makes me a hypocrite. I will go on anyone's podcast. I met Ethan. People are forgetting I met Ethan. But going on his podcast because he did a vile video about criticizing girls' looks, saying that they look like whales, Twinkies, that I look like a corpse, that I look like a WWE wrestler, showing before and afters that I posted myself, trying to be like, wow, they're really fooling you. Just vile shit. And I still went on his podcast because